It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Hello and welcome to episode number 126 of the Rob Carson Show podcast. It's an honor and a privilege to have you here, to have you listening and downloading this podcast, hopefully on iTunes, if not iHeartRadio. We've got to TuneIn, we've got to Audio Boom, SoundCloud, Google Plus, YouTube as well. Rob Carson Show. The empire continues to grow. It's fledgling now. It's actually a hatchling, and we're working on it, and you guys are making it possible. So thank you for that. Now, tonight, I'm going to be going on a bigger platform, Deplorables Radio on Facebook at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time on the 11th of July, 2017. I'm going on Deplorables Radio. And I'm going to go live at 6 o'clock doing a show from my studio that I think you're going to find entertaining and informative. It'll be 65-35 politics to non-political stuff. It'll contain what you hear here, and that is a little commentary, a little connection, a little comedy, all of those things. So Deplorables Radio, just join, okay? Will you join? And check it out. Podcast today is, this one, number 127, is going to be less than political. All right, we've got a bunch of stuff to get to. Some serious, some not so serious. Going to get into the Charlie Gard case in just a moment and hear what Charles Krauthammer, who, by the way, is a quadriplegic, has to say about it. Okay. Summertime means more complaints about sexist air conditioning. Christie tries his hand at sports radio and gets his rear end handed to him. All of that coming up. I want to thank our sponsors. You ever need an adjustment in your back? Like, for instance, the older I get, the more noise that I make when I move, particularly my neck, and occasionally I have to have my neck adjusted. I have to have a chiropractor look at it, and they do miracles. Dr. Alex Nelson does those miracles here in the Kansas City area where I live. They're on North Congress Avenue. And the website is fountainoflifechiro.com, fountainoflifechiro.com. The number, 816-741-4711, 816-741-4711. If you don't believe in chiropractic, the only reason you do is because you've never tried it. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's worked miracles for me. I know it can work for you. Okay? And, you got to get adjusted every once in a while. All right? Also, I want to thank Grass Monsters KC, grassmonsterskc.com. They're at 5520 Raytown Road in Raytown, Missouri, and they have got American-made mowers, Dixie choppers, and of course, your Hustler mowers. Hustlers are made in Kansas. You can get some great deals right now, great financing on either of these types of mowers. Check this out, the Raptor SDX, which is a light commercial mower, 3-year, 300-hour warranty on that, all right? Raptor Unlimited, 3-year, no-hour limit warranty. The basic Raptor, 3-year, no-hour limit warranty. These things offer incredible warranties because they're built to last. Smooth track steering, a tough frame you wouldn't believe on these things, low center of gravity, so if you got hills and whatnot, you don't feel unsafe. You're not going to be sliding everywhere. Dixie choppers made in Indiana. We've got the Z2, which is a residential mower. You will be the envy of your neighborhood. If you got a commercial setup, you might consider the Excalibur. Go see them all, 5520 Raytown Road. Tell them you saw me, or you heard me talking about it, I should say. You heard me talking about it. And you will not regret. Again, it's grassmonsterskc.com. Grassmonsterskc.com. Okay, let's get on it. A bunch of stuff to get to. Christie apparently tried his hand at talk radio. He may be able to pull this off. I don't know. A lot of times when you give people a talk radio platform, they've never done it before, they fall flat on their face. Mike Huckabee, come on, man. It was a terrible show. But they thought because he was big enough, as far as a public figure, nothing against Mike Huckabee. But if you don't know broadcasting, you don't know how to talk for 3 or 4 hours extemporaneously, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Who knows if Christie can do this? But anyway, he was on New York yesterday. K-Fan, I believe, is the station, and he got chewed out for going to a New Jersey beach while the rest of the public beaches, all of the public beaches in New Jersey, were closed.
Mike in Montclair, what's up, Mike?
Governor, next time you want to sit on a beach that is closed to the entire world except you,
Yeah.
You put your fat ass in a car and go to
Hey.
one that's
Whoa,
open
whoa,
to
whoa,
all
whoa.
your constituents.
Well, you know,
not just you and yours.
Interesting, Mike. You know what?
What's that? What's that, Gov?
You know, Mike, I love getting calls from communists in Montclair.
Communist in Montclair.
You know,
you're a bully,
guys
Governor,
no,
and I
you know
don't
what?
like bullies.
You know what? And listen, I'm not the one who came on the air. Hey, hold on, Mike. Mike, I'm not the guy who came on the air, swore on the air.
Who swore?
And so you did.
Get the heck out of here.
You know, you're swearing on the air, Mike. You're a bum.
You know,
so
you
let's
have
so
bad
let's just
optics,
go.
and
But,
you're a bully,
bad optics,
okay?
Mike.
And
I'd love to come look at
the
your
lowest
optics every day,
approval
buddy.
rating in the
Oh, that's you
of
know
New
what,
Jersey
and you know what,
politics.
Mike. What matters is what you do. That's what
And
matters.
what have you done?
What I just did was stop polluting the airways with a guy like that.
Okay. Didn't answer the question. And it wasn't really optics. It was just a bad move, period. It's just a really bad move by the governor, who has an unpopularity rating, or I should say a popularity rating of 15. In some way, I kind of admired him. And in other ways, I mean, his response, basically saying, you become governor, you can do the same thing. Okay, I kind of liked that, but I thought it was a douche move by the governor to go hang at the beach when nobody else can. You know, anyway. So the Charlie Gard case is before a judge, and the judge said the parents of Charlie Gard, who was terminally ill, have to submit new and powerful evidence demonstrating their son could be kept alive to receive experimental treatment in the States, rather than stay in the UK and have the government essentially decide the plug has got to be pulled. Last night on Fox News, Charles Krauthammer, who is a psychiatrist. However, he has extensive medical knowledge, and he also has extensive knowledge of suffering as a quadriplegic. I believe he had a diving accident when he was in his 20s. He's not been able to breathe on his own since then. He's an amazing man, an amazing, amazing man. And he echoed my thoughts on this. I'll share those in just a second. But for those of you who don't understand what Charlie Gard has, how profound this disease or this illness or this genetic issue is, here is a brief description from a Fox News report last night.
The condition known as encephalomyopathic mitochondrial DNA depletion syndrome usually causes death in a few months. It's extremely rare, and the National Institutes of Health says only about 15 infants worldwide have it. Mutations in genes
That's out of 6 billion people. Unreal.
that maintain DNA inside the mitochondria cause the condition. For Charlie, the mutation is on a gene called RRM2B. The disease affects many organs in the body. Charlie is now 11 months old. Other infants with the same mutation died within 4 months. Charlie's condition causes the inability to breathe on his own, seizures, and he's also blind and deaf. The condition can also cause muscle weakness, microcephaly, which is a smaller than normal-sized head, and kidney problems. There's no cure, and the only treatment is to manage symptoms. Charlie's parents want to bring him to the U.S. for an experimental treatment that has been used on patients with a less severe form of DNA depletion.
Okay, so you ask yourself this question. Later in life, say you develop this condition, would you say to the people in the facility you're in, you wouldn't be able to? I mean, if you developed it, you could, I guess. Say that if this should happen to me, I don't want to go on living. Would you feel that way? Would you feel that way? That said, I don't think it's the government's decision to be made. I think it's made by the parents. Here is Charles Krauthammer last night on Fox News talking with Tucker Carlson about Charlie Gard.
In this particular case, I think the parents are wrong. If it were me, looking at the objective evidence, I think this child is in terrible distress. He can't hear, he can't see, he can't move, he cannot swallow. He's intubated. I've been intubated for weeks at a time.
Wow.
And I can tell you it's a life of distress, on the edge of despair, and this child can't speak. I was an adult at the time. I could speak. He can't speak. The merciful thing to do, I believe, if it were my choice, if I were king, would be to remove the tubes, allow the child to die, and to end the suffering. The parents think otherwise. I think in the end, these issues are irresolvable, and therefore we ought to allow the decision to be made by those who love the child the most, who have the most pure of motives. And in this case, it's the parents.
Okay. So here's what's going to happen. If the UK says go to the United States, Charlie Gard's going to come to the United States and he's going to die. And it sucks. It really sucks. I didn't realize how profound the issue was with the little boy. To not be able to swallow, to not be able to see or hear, is unfathomable. Unless those things can be remedied, then it's not much of a life. Here's a little bit more on Charlie Gard's parents and the cruel hoax that there's hope for him.
I think this is a cruel hoax, this holding out of hope for a disease that is utterly incurable. There are people, this happens every time you have a terrible case like this. Yeah. Some hospital or doctor will claim he's got some kind of new treatment. I don't believe a word of it. However, the parents do. They want to bring Charlie here for treatment. I say they ought to be sovereign, ought to be the one who decides.
How can we have a system?
That's why it's a tragedy.
Well, it is.
It is a tragedy. But ultimately, it shouldn't be up to the government to do that, because it's a slippery slope. And I know this is a real heavy conversation, but it's one that I've wanted to have with you. Here is a little bit more from Dr. Krauthammer on Charlie's parents and how they should be in charge of his life and death.
If they're Christian scientists and they don't want to allow blood to be transfused, the state steps in and says, I'm sorry.
Now, that's a reasonable thing for the state to do.
You're no longer sovereign. You're endangering the child.
To save the life of the child.
I agree.
The state is stepping in here to kill the child.
Well, the word kill, I think, is a loaded word. This is stepping in to remove the artificial means that are being used to keep a child in what I would call a state of utter distress.
Wow.
At the best. Look, parents can make a mistake. The state at some points has to step in for parents who aren't insane, but who may have a religious belief or some other that threatens a child. But these are rare cases, and I think that generally speaking, since there is no way to adjudicate this in a way that's objective, there are no objective values, it has to be in the hands of the parents, which is why I would say to the state, let them do what they think is right for the child, even though I disagree.
Okay. Well said. From someone who understands physical suffering, like most of us cannot. This kind of crystallized it for me, because this boy is no chance of growing up, has no chance of living a life much longer, even with an experimental therapy. So all I'll just say is God bless him, God bless the parents, and I hope whatever suffering will end peacefully. Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to, bring anything down, but I just think it's something that we needed to talk about. Okay. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook creator, CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who, by the way, is trying to shut down several conservative Facebook pages for their thoughts. He said that the social media network's new mission is to provide the community that churches once fulfilled. Wow. Pastor Robert Jeff, is your office air conditioning sexist? Okay. I want you to think about that. A lot of the times, women in the office are freezing cold and guys are quite comfortable. Well, apparently, OSHA-based 55 guidelines in American businesses that in the United States meant that offices had to be between 68 and 76 degrees, providing comfort for most occupants. Well, there's this Australian science commentator, Dr. Karl Kruszenicki. He's saying it's sexist, saying that these 55 guidelines came around in 1966 when women weren't high level in businesses. It was run by stuffy middle-aged men wearing business suits. Is it still that way? I know it's never warm enough in the winter in offices. I know it's never warm enough in the winter. Some kind of interesting, a new study by political scientist Jeff Brower finds that the generation after millennials, Generation Z, is expected to lean Republican. You know, I don't know. Gen Zs are born between 1996 and 2010. My son is one. My daughter is one. They grew up in the midst 9/11, global terrorism, school shootings, the 2008 financial crisis, high unemployment numbers, smartphones, technology, and social media already at their tiny fingertips, rewiring them into marketing machines. Having grown up in unstable society, Gen Zs distrust government and consolidated power. They are not as impressed with fame, celebrities, athletes, politicians as their predecessors, since fame in their lifetime has become rather easy to obtain with social media, TV, according to Bauer. Politically, Generation Z is liberal moderate with social issues like support for marriage equality and civil rights, moderate conservative with fiscal and security issues. And, you know, a lot of people my age are that way. I would say that I am libertarian leaning when it comes to social issues. As far as pot, I think it should be decriminalized, and if states decide to make it legal, that's fine. As far as gay marriage, I didn't like the way the issue was settled, but, you know, get the government the hell out of marriage. But I understand the distrust in government because kids born between 1996 and 2010 have never experienced a terrific economy, essentially, when many of them have entered their earning years. All right. And they are beginning to enter their earning years, getting out of college. And they've gone through school and they've gone through their primary years watching a flatlined economy. So, yeah, I can see where it's coming from. Study of 2,000 young people preparing to start university found that many aren't ready for the challenges of living independently. This according to a British study. 2,000 of these college student studies. 61% of millennials are anxious about the prospect of starting college. 58% are having trouble sleeping. 27% having panic attacks. Here's where it gets a little bit tricky. Apparently, when asked about their finances, only half of prospective students correctly identified accommodation and rent as their biggest expenditure. They thought their biggest expense after tuition fees would be nights out, student societies, groceries, course materials, and all this stuff. And then also, they have no ability to pay bills. They don't know how to do it. It's another thing. I didn't know how to do a lot of things when I went to the university. When I went to university, I had never done a load of laundry. I know. Kind of sad. Kind of sad. I was reading a column by Adam Chandler, an opinion contributor, an editorial writer for USA Today. And he's a gay man, and he says that June marked the fifth Pride Month since I came out in 2013 and the first one to go unacknowledged by the president. Now, he's saying that Donald Trump intentionally slighted gay people. The slight, he says, has hit hard, and not because lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people needed a reminder that our rights remain a political fixation, rather by withdrawing recognition from the group that has gained ground precisely by being recognized as friends and neighbors, sons and daughters. The White House appears to be sending a painful message that we ought to return to the closet. We don't deserve the progress we've made. No, this is a load. This is a load of BS. Pride Month was not recognized by Donald Trump. I think this may have been an intentional slight, and I don't blame him because the LGBT movement for equality has been adulterated. It has been politicized. There was the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting. There was a march, and in that march, it was people who are Trump supporting Republican gays were not allowed to march in the march. We had the flurry of major gay marches a few weeks ago in New York City, and they are political now. It's about hating Trump. It's about don't repeal Obamacare. It's about all the left-leaning issues that all the other leftist groups that are doing marches are all about. It's been adulterated. You cannot be gay and Republican. You cannot be gay and pro-life. You cannot. It is not acceptable. You cannot be gay and conservative. And that's why I think that Donald Trump didn't acknowledge it. So to act all hurt about it when you hate the president, and I'm sure this man does, because in his column, again, Adam Chandler, USA Today, he acknowledges Barack Obama throughout this entire article. Okay? For the first time since President Obama took office, Pride Month did not make the cut, having grown accustomed to Obama's increasingly elaborate proclamations and celebrations. The LGBT community had come to expect this annual acknowledgement and held out hope that it might arrive, but those expectations were extinguished. This is not about recognition. They don't care about recognition from Donald Trump. What they want is submission. The left gay LGBT community, which has been overrun, they want submission. And I don't mean that in a kinky way. They want Christian bakeries to make gay cakes. They want the restroom at your grocery store to allow, or be forced to allow, men who claim to be women to go to the women's room. Okay, this isn't about acceptance, and to act all hurt about this. There's another way to say hurt, but I won't in this case. Is faux. This is wanting an acknowledgement from the president that you agree with their political agenda, and that's what I absolutely do not accept. Again, if you want to check out that, I'll post it on Facebook. Adam D. Chandler, USA Today. If you're going to take a movement in a political direction, don't expect that the other side of the political equation is going to embrace you. Okay, going to this. Sorry, this is not right. Transgender women who were born male should be given womb transplants so they can have children. According to the British Health Agency, fertility experts say taxpayers should fund such transplants for those who identify as women on the basis of equality enshrined in the law. Dr. Al Gary of Liverpool University also predicts that a successful program would lead to others in demanding wombs, including gay and straight men who wanted to experience the joys of carrying a child. Critics say they should not waste precious resources merely to allow trans women to pursue an authentic female experience. I agree. Women's campaigner Laura Perrins, most taxpayers will not think this as a good use of resources. It raises profound ethical and moral issues that will have an impact on women's rights. It will impinge on the meaning of motherhood and womanhood, and it makes monsters. I'm sorry. It is unnatural. It is wrong to put an artificial womb in someone who never had a womb. I could see if you were born female and you have an issue like that, then perhaps, yes, to have child as a woman, great. I think this is profoundly, it flies in the face of science and God. Okay, let's move on to some lighter stuff. I kind of like this story. David Kaltschmidt, his wife Maureen Smith, they won part of the largest Powerball jackpots in history. They won $328 million. Their three-way share of the $1.56 billion prize propelled the pair into the ranks of America's super rich. Enough funds for yachts, supercars, sprawling mansions. Instead, basically, they've stayed in their $300,000 Florida home. They frequent the same shops and restaurants as before, even continue to play Powerball. She still goes to the same Publix where she bought her winning ticket 18 months ago. They opted for a one-time payment because of their age. They're up there. David is 56, and that's what I do. The one big splashy thing that they did do, the wife got a Tesla. It's a $90,000 car. Considering how much money they won, that's slumming it, okay? And by the way, David even kept his 15-foot Boston Whaler, which he uses for fishing. Didn't bother to buy a new yacht. This is nice. This is nice. I'm sorry, I wouldn't do that. I'd go nuts. The first thing that I would do is I would go car shopping, man. And I just go, I'll take that one, I'll take that one, I'll take that one, I'll take that one, I'll take that one. Here, where do I sign? And just drop them off in my driveway. That's the thing I would do. The first thing I would do. This I'm having real problems with. How about a body camera for your children? I'm going to share that story with you in just a minute. You know what else I'd buy? Well, you don't need to be a millionaire to buy a terrific mower from Grass Monsters KC. But wouldn't it be nice to have some extra lottery money so you could have several of these in your shed? The Dixie Chopper, Z2 Excalibur, Blackhawk HP, Classic Silver Eagle, the Hustler, Fast Track, Raptor. These are great mowers, and they will last you forever. The Super Z, 500 or 5 year or 500 hour. 500 a year would be a hell of a warranty. 5 year, 500 hour warranty on this thing. See them all at Grass Monsters KC, 5520 Raytown Road, Raytown Mow, grassmonsterskc.com. Coming this Christmas for sale, a body camera for your kids to preserve childhood memories. Now, what this is going to do is you're going to have, it's called the Benjamin Button Wearable Smart Cam. Allows parents to record HD video hands-free. So you just basically hang it on the kid, and the kid walks around, and it automatically starts recording when they have interactions, I guess. Okay? Going to make it water and dust-proof, virtually indestructible. There's also no actual buttons on it. The camera turns on and off based on light. Unlike GoPro, there's no active Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Allows for up to 3 hours of recording. And mom and dad don't have to work anymore. This allows, you don't think a lot of times you think opening presents, okay, but you don't think about like the conversations your kids have, recording them for the future. And I understand this. This uses based on sound recognition, face recognition, action recognition. You'll be automatically even only best parts of the day. Now, the problem that I have, enormous, and even if they're just your kids, enormous breach of privacy. I think it's kind of lazy on the parents' part. I think that your kid doesn't know what's going on. I've seen it described as creepy and invasive. Some say that this technology is just enabling helicopter parents to record their kids' every move. They're saying it's going to be brought to America in time for Christmas. I got a problem with it. I really, really have a problem with this. Kids are people, too. You have a right to privacy. I think they should, too. I really do. The Iron Maiden fan club, the local Dungeons & Dragons meetup, and the annual Nunchucks tournament remain all male by chance. Harvard University's Fox Club, once again, becomes all male by choice. The decision to go all women in the heart of the American liberalism comes less than 2 years after the group officially offered provisional memberships to females. They've decided to rebel against new rules that punish members of the single-sex clubs on campus. That policy, announced in May 2016, will bar members of single-sex social organizations from holding leadership positions in recognized groups. And I heard about this. You can't belong to a single-sex group on campus, fraternity or sorority, and hold a leadership position on campus. Well, some people have said, you know what? Screw me. Screw you. According to Douglas Sears, class of 69, member of the club, some folks certainly know how to get on the wrong side of history voluntarily. Other folks get it on the right side involuntarily, which Harvard's punitive policy seeks to do with the Fox Club. So basically, they are going to say, screw it. We're going to be all male again. And you know what? I'm fine with that. And I'm fine with all women's clubs. And I'm fine with women saying, no, we don't want you on our club. Sorry, don't take it personally, but this is us. We get all wrapped up in all this transgenderism and all this, I identify with this sex or I identify with that sex. And I'm sorry, I think we've gone a little nuts. I think the whole thing has jumped the shark, to be quite honest. How many hours of our lives do you suppose you spend escaping reality? 22 minutes the average person spends daydreaming each day to books, films, TV that we get lost in. These are ways that we escape every week. 13 hours, what they say we do. We escape reality by watching TV or reading books or drinking wine. 2,000 adults showed 12 hours, 56 minutes of escaping our reality each week. And like I said, I'm sure Netflix has a lot to do with it. HGTV for me and my wife. It's a great way. And listen, a great way to escape reality, by the way. HGTV. Although I did find a new channel the other day. It's called Velocity. Have you heard about this? It's all about cars. Overhauling is on that now. I don't know if they changed Spike into Velocity or if it's a spinoff. But I like it. I watched Chip Foose and Overhauling the other day. It was spectacular. Spectacular. We're going to have some fun with music in a few minutes. Put together a list of the greatest girl group songs of all time. I'm going to share the top 5 with you in just a second. First company to be able to sell organic water. Organic water. And if you have enough money to buy this and you spend it on it, you don't know how to spend your money. And Sarazi sparkling water gets its water from maple trees. Now, here's how they were able to get the organic definition. It has to come with something out of something living. So what they do is they take the sap out of the tree, which is 97% water, and then they take the water and say that it has been filtered free of impurities by the tree. So it's organic water. Yeah. 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. They say this is the purest form of water. That's not true. The most pure form of water is water that is distilled, that evaporates and then is recondensed, and that's pure. Anyway, this is available in northeastern states where people have too much money for $6.99 for 12-ounce 4-pack carton. $2 for a 12-ounce bottle. Bottle of Diet Coke, that size will run you about $1.50, maybe $1.29 for the 12. This would make sense if 3/4 of the Earth's surface were covered with Diet Coke. But it's not. It's not. All right, let's talk about a little bit of music before we leave the podcast today. And again, I want to remind you that if you are listening on the 11th of July 2017, I'm going to be on Deplorables Radio at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Greatest girl group songs of all time. This according to Billboard. Billboard. Now, I guess this is dealing with time spent on the charts, right? It's not like, it's great because it's empowering. It's because they sold the most records. Start with number 20, We Are Family, Sister Sledge. That's a good one. A lot of these I don't know. Lady Marmalade, La Belle, 1974. Great song. Hold On by Wilson Phillips. Cruel Summer, Bananarama. That's in number 13. Heat Wave, Martha Reeve and the Vandellas, 1963. Waterfalls, TLC. Don't go chasing waterfalls. 95 is number 11. Best of My Love by The Emotions. I didn't know that was a girl song. 1977 is number 10. Leader of the Pack, The Shangri-La, 64 is number 9. Then He Kissed Me, The Crystals, number 8. Say My Name, Destiny's Child, number 7. My Lovin' In Vogue, which is a fantastic song. No, you're never going to get it. Oh, man, it's so good. Number 6. All right, you want to know what number 5 is? Not one of my faves.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Don't tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Don't tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna really, really, really wanna zig a zig. If you wanna be my lover, you gotta get with my friends.
Such a chick song.
Make it last forever. Friendship never ends.
Yeah, that is such a chick song. Oh, my God. Number 5, Wanna Be by the Spice Girls. That was in 1996. Can you believe that song is 21 years old? Number 4, let me do my best, Casey Kasem. Number 4, Where Did My Love Go by the Supremes. Pretty classic song. Hard to believe that song is older than me. Wow, pretty wild. Number 3 on the Billboard charts, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow by the Shirelles. Here it comes. Here's the hook. Here's the hook. All right, here's something relatively current. I mean, not current, but certainly more current than 1961. It's Creep by TLC from 1994. Okay. See, I'm not really that familiar with the song because I was doing rock radio in 1994. I was playing Nirvana and the Breeders and the Foo Fighters. Well, not Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters weren't around yet. Soundgarden and all that stuff. So I'm not all that familiar with. Number one girl group song of all time, Be My Baby by the Ronettes. All right. Pretty top heavy on the older stuff. Top heavy. Yeah. Anyway, those are the top 5 greatest girl group songs of all time. Well, I got to actually do like a little music radio. I don't really miss music radio, to be quite honest. Not at all. Not at all. Hey, guys, I want to thank you for listening today. I want to thank Dr. Alex Nelson for being one of my first sponsors on this podcast. If you're thinking about getting an adjustment, if you've had migraines or headaches or neck pain or back pain or hip pain, or your body makes a lot of noise when you move around, consider checking out Dr. Alex Nelson's practice at fountainoflifechiro.com, fountainoflifechiro.com. Decompression for herniated low back discs. I'm telling you something. Miraculous stuff can be done. You don't have to get the shot into your spine sometimes. My wife had to do that a few years ago. Oh, my Lord. FountainOfLifeChiro.com, 816-741-4711, 816-741-4711. Dr. Alex Nelson, bless you. And also GrassMastersKC.com. Glad to have you guys again tonight. And it looks like, hopefully, for the near future, at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can listen to me and see me and my face on Facebook Live, Deplorables Radio. Deplorables Radio is where it is on Facebook. And as always, we will share the podcasts on iTunes at Rob Carson Show, on iHeartRadio, Rob Carson Show. Basically, every platform that I'm offering for the podcast is at Rob Carson Show, including my Facebook page, which is Rob Carson Show. And now my YouTube page has changed to YouTube. Look for Rob Carson Show. All right? You guys are the absolute best. I thank you so much for listening. Please keep my family in your prayers as we continue this venture into podcasting. And I will do the same for you. If you want to write me, carsonontheradio@gmail.com, or if you want to join me on Facebook, Rob Carson Show, or on Twitter at Rob Carson. Talk to you real soon, guys.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.